if you read for 15 minutes every day for a whole year, you'd be 100% better than you are, a year ago when you started. But if you put an accumulation of all those 15 minutes and read straight for like days, weeks, as you may have it, by the time you are done, you only be about 17% better than you were. So it is not just about doing it in lump sum, it is also the consistency that makes us, better.
Sumita Mariam, and let's begin with a quick introduction of peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end, one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year, and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. And now for our guest, Samuel Akinlotan is a people and organization consultant at PwC Nigeria. He's an internationally certified talent management professional and career coach. He's the founder and project lead for the Young HR Professionals Network. He's been recognized among the top 150 global HR influencer for 2019 and 2020 and top 10 HR professionals in Nigeria. We have the pleasure to interview one of the brightest HR professionals from Nigeria today. Welcome, Samuel. We are so thrilled to have you with us.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much. Thank you once again. Thank you for the introduction as well. I'm pretty pumped to share a few thoughts on it. I think is a very good one that has for me so many responsibilities and opportunities to give my my best self, to colleagues, to employees, and even to the business as a that I find pretty exciting. So thank you very much for having me join you today.
Sure, no problem. It's absolutely a pleasure, Samuel. So moving on to the interview, the very first question I have for you, Samuel, is you've had quite an exciting journey, right? So can you tell us your story about how you came to start the Young HR Professionals Network?
Okay, so I think my background will make it very easy for me to talk about the Young HR Professionals Network. I studied biochemistry from University Nigeria, and I'm practicing human resources. So they're like North and South Pole, totally apart, as you may have it there. But while I was in uni, due to a lack of infrastructures around what I was studying to make it pretty sustainable post graduation, I thought, okay, what are the available options with regards to what I knew at that point and what I could do. Unfortunately for me, I was a student leader when I was in university, and I was so it gave me that exposure to identify my strengths, things I could do very well. I could exhibit and do with other students while in school, different committees as you may have it. And I also had exposure to work with organizations. So during the course of my engagement with different organizations, for example, one was that I was a campus ambassador with Unilever Nigeria then. And when I was a campus ambassador with them, I got to work with the human resource department, and it exposed me to what they were doing firsthand. And that was when I fell in love with human resources. So what I was saying was that I have a science background, but I realized that I was not passionate about it as much as I was doing very well in regards to my grades then in university. So my exposure to different organizations, being a student leader, really gave me that clarity in regards to what I could do well there. So I became a campus ambassador with Unilever in my third year, Unilever Nigeria, my third year in uni then. And I got to work with their human resource department. And it gave me insight into what HR professionals do in the workplace, how they make life easier for people, how they, also set the standard with regards to what's achievable through people in an organization then. And I fell in love with HR. And that's how I found myself in HR. I would say the fortunate side of it for me in regards to practicing HR was that this set of persons I surrounded myself with, it guided my thoughts in regards to getting into HR. I also got the opportunity to intern with an HR team. And when I finished from university, one of the key challenges I saw was that a lot of people, our education system was not preparing them for the workplace, with regards to workplace readiness skills, with regards to even skills to perform in different business functions. Yeah, the transferable skills gap was really there. Then even the technical knowledge to even fit into business functions was also there. And that was one of the things, because I was already in HR, I felt, okay, I could look at people that are coming behind me, that did not get the opportunity I got to delve into HR, to guide them in regards to what they needed to do to get into HR. And that was what birthed Human Young HR Professionals Network, where we provide them with mentoring, we provided them with subsidized trainings. So with regards to subsidized trainings, we facilitate free trainings for them on the transferable skills side of it. And then we work with consulting firms or training organizations to get discounts for them, where they can get, trained at a very, very cheaper rate compared to the market, rates as we have it then. And so those are like the key things we did, we do at Young HR Professionals. And that was what really bet is to where we are right now.
Wow, that's wonderful. I mean, I can really relate to that, having your background in something else and, falling in love with HR. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Yes. So Samuel, being a people and organization consultant, right? So how do you think we can use data analytics to improve the talent acquisitions?
I'm one that is pretty keen about data analytics. The organization I work with, PwC, we are digitally minded. Okay, this is one of our biggest conversations, digital transformation as you have it. So I'm digitally minded. And all through my career, I've worked around data. And what I believe is that for HR to exhibit business acumen, which is one of the biggest things that, brings business functions to the table, the organizational table as we have it. When we say, oh, what are you bringing to the table? The CFO has been at the table all their career. The CMO has been at the table all their careers. So HR is now coming to the table. What is bringing us to the table is business acumen, our understanding of the business and how what we do in HR can impact the business. And data analytics is what is driving this conversation. Data analytics is the core. You can't go to the board meeting and you're defining HR functions, you're defining recruitment. You need to speak to data, how it relates to business figures, to revenue, to cost, how we workforce costs. It is increasing, yes. How is it also impacting business revenue as we have it? So I really see this is how HR aligns with the business. Data analytics, I think, is that gap that has always existed between HR and the board there. And I think it's a gap that is really closing today as we have it. And so when it comes to talent acquisition, I think there are three approaches to, I've had experience in talent acquisition very well. So, and I've worked around using softwares, building systems around data analytics for talent acquisition. So I think there are three approaches to it basically. I look at it from an efficiency angle, I look at it from an effectiveness angle, and I look at it from a business impact angle. And the efficiency angle here speaks to, when we are speaking around quantity of hire, where can we, or quantity of candidates, where can we find, the kind of candidates we are looking for? That's there. Also speaking to cost, how can we manage cost? The only reason, way we can identify the most effective ways of hiring is when we can measure. So if I know now, for example, from experience, that employee referral is cheaper when it comes to hiring candidates compared to advertising it in, job boards or using external consultants. As you have it, employee referral program, for example, gives you access to, number one, quality candidates that are trusted by your employees there. And the reason I knew this was because I've been able to analyze the different candidates from quantity and quality to across different recruitment strategies, employee referral, sourcing externally, sourcing internally, as you have it there. So I think from an efficiency angle, data analytics is playing a very, very big role, from time to hire, source of hiring, volume of hiring of candidates, and cost of even hiring. Yes, data analytics has done a whole lot around that. From an effectiveness angle, that one now speaks to performance. So that's like the next phase where we are saying, okay, we are attracting 10,000 candidates. Are they the right candidates? Are they the right kind of persons we are looking for? The way we can identify this is when we have metrics-driven selection, processes, where we are identifying the candidates we are engaging against defined competencies, as you may have it. And this has to be metrics-driven, which is data analytics still speaks to. And, in times past, the reason HR, in quotes, has been seen as the devil, as you may have it, in the talent market is through recruitment. because there are a lot of biases around selection. People feel they were poorly treated. People feel they were biased against that you may have it. But when we have metrics-driven selection processes where a candidate knows, okay, one is poor, two is very poor, or one is very poor, two is poor, three is average, four is good, and five is very good on the metric scale, on the rating scale, for example, against competencies. These are metric-driven selection processes, and this is what this analytics is also doing, where you can clearly help a candidate understand what their performance was like because your selection is supported by data analytics there. Also, we can measure quality of hire now because we can check their performance based on selection there. This is also what data analytics is doing. So this is on the effectiveness side of it. And then we speak to value as well. If we are not hiring the right set of persons, the time it will take them to add value in an organization it will also take longer. You get speed to value. There's another thing there from an effectiveness angle. And if we bring these two together on how data analytics is changing talent acquisition, efficiency and effectiveness, we realize that business results, will come to play very, very fast. When we are hiring the right set of persons, and in 6 months, even before their confirmation, we can see the value they are adding, even before their probation, appraisal, or any other thing process we use there. It is going to speak to business results as much as possible. When we have, the right analytics also guiding our recruitment processes, our selection processes, even if we do not, hire some candidates, there's candidates we call silver medalists, the second best candidate that you could not hire. But, if you have data driving your talent acquisition processes, you know how to manage these people from time to time because they still fit into what your organization is looking for. And that is a good workforce plan for you as well. You get from the business angle where you don't have to always go to the market to hire because you have an effective data analytics process guiding your workforce plan. I think these are just my few thoughts around how data analytics is influencing talent acquisition.
Yeah, that was a beautiful answer. And
Thank you.
yeah, he was telling a lot about having data, talent acquisition, all of that. So taking another step ahead, right? So what tools or techniques, according to you, can the HRs use to drive employee engagement, especially when we have a remote working situation like this right now?
So the most interesting thing, there's been a lot of conversation around future of work, remote work, flexi work, and I'm so excited when, in quotes, so there are good sides to Corona, and there's a downside too. And one of the good sides is how it has propelled all of us into the future of work that we've always preached there, as we have it, and realize that everybody's now working remotely. At least in the last 2-3 months, more than half of the working class, population of the world, we're working remotely. So organizations had to adapt or adjust to this shift in regards to how we work. And this is not only telling on even the work rate, it's also telling on the skills that are required. You join meetings sometimes, and some people do not even know how to use the basic, video conferencing tool that we're having the conversations on. So it is feedback for many organizations. But when it comes to engaging employees remotely, I think the 3 key things that people have struggled with to a very large extent, no matter the size of the organization, no matter the amount of their budget, their revenue, as you may have it. I think the 3 key things organizations have struggled with is communication, because people are no longer seeing each other. They cannot, the normal human camaraderie that we experience is no longer there. The second one is collaboration, where people feel, so I could be in my house, if I'm at work, because of the human engagement, I could easily walk to my colleague's desk and ask a few questions to get clarification. That is also lacking. So it is impacting collaboration, where people cannot get to ask people questions around their work easily, and people cannot even get to work with others. So if I'm in my house, and let's say peradventure I was in the kitchen, you cannot reach me easily when I'm in the kitchen. So it is also impacting collaboration on work, where we have to agree on time. But if we're in the office, we can just sit together in like 5 minutes, have a discussion, and close out on that conversation. So collaboration is also suffering. And then connection, which speaks to the emotional side of it, where a lot of people feel like they are losing touch with the purpose of their organization, the value their work is adding, and many other things around that. So I think these are the three key areas that many organizations are struggling. And so, to do this, I think the first place to start is ensuring transparency in regards to communication. People, there is a way the human mind works where when we stay idle for long, we bring up thoughts. We brood thoughts. For example, in a day, you've not gotten an email from your boss, maybe you've been used to activities, before Corona, but you've not gotten an email from your boss all day. You might feel like, oh, I hope my job is not being threatened. I hope my boss is not looking for a replacement there. So I think communication and communicating regularly is one of the first things to do, when it comes to remote work. Communicating regularly in regards to expectations, expected from on the work that we are doing, timelines as well. Also communicating the organization's purpose is very important at this time, so people do not lose touch with regards to why they were excited in the first place to join this organization. There, I think also creating a sense of belonging, regular check-ins are very important. We should not just limit our online conversations to, oh, what is the status update of this project? Where is this report? We should also have small talks. I believe small talks go a very, very long way at this time, where we're just checking on each other. We do not have to have all the makeup. We do not have to have all the everything all put together. It's just allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. Also, encouraging vulnerability at this time will also, build connection among people. I think another thing is also to allow life as part of work. I think I saw an interview on CNN where the reporter was having the interview from home, and a kid walked into the room. As a kid walked into the room, she was pretty embarrassed, and they told her no, they should allow the kid come in. We need to allow life, to be part of work, because a lot of people, because they have to join meetings, they have to lock the door on their keys, they have to put so many things away because they have to join. We need to understand that we're no longer working. We are now living at work as we may have it. So we need to allow, life to be part of work at this time there. I think it's also important for us to empower people with regards to, developing them, so they keep learning, and, the old work break does not become a career break for them, such that even as they're away from work, they are still learning and developing themselves, because on the job learning might not be so high at this time. So learning is also very important. And I think the last thing to do, I would say, is for business leadership to foster trust, communicate as well. So we should not just leave this communication and, conversations to team levels, to department levels. Business leadership also needs to engage people, to let them know the state of the business and what is going on at different times. So I think these are my own thoughts around fostering employee engagement.
That's very interesting. I mean, do you think that employer branding on the inside is what we need to do right now?
Oh yes, I definitely agree on employer branding. And the reason employer branding is important is because, number one, there's a high chance many organizations are not recruiting actively right now. They are not bringing in people as often as they probably used to. And this is the time to speak to your candidates, to the passive and active candidates you are looking at, bringing into your business, to communicate the purpose of your business, to communicate what you are doing for your people at this time as well. Because trust me, if an organization has been quiet all along, and everything I've been hearing about the organization and what their people are saying, and if it is not the best experience, there's a high chance if they engage me in the future, that memory might stay with me, and I would not want to work with them there. So it's important that even as much as we are at home or we are working remotely, it's also important to engage candidates remotely. Again, tell what our people are doing. If our people are having team meetings via video conferencing, as they're having team bonding activities, playing games via virtual means, we should also share these people out there. We could have a day where people are just share something about their family. We could put it on our career page, on our career sites, on our social media, to let them know that our people are still in touch with each other. And these are the things that that build an employer brand, the human element there. So I believe, yes, employer branding is very, very important, even at this time, where we are consistently communicating about our people and what it looks like for any candidate that would love to work with us.
All right, that's interesting. So, one question for you, Samuel. What will be
Yeah.
your advice, for young leaders just starting out in HR?
I think two things I never, ever, ever take out of my conversations with HR professionals at any level is number one, don't forget the human element. There is human resources. So you get a lot of things, human capital, human resources, and human resource management and everything. But the first thing we should never forget is that we are dealing with humans in the workplace, human beings that have emotions. They are not robots, they're not laptops. You get that you can just do a control delete and everything just goes off. We are humans that have emotions. So we should never forget the human elements, and we should engage as humans as much as possible. And I think it's something that is very important because that's where the perception that HR has gotten around not being a friend in the workplace is because there's a chance that we tend towards control and compliance, in HR than to go towards connecting with our people as HR professionals. So it's very important for us to not just drive HR from a control and compliance angle, but also to connect with people. So we should not forget the human element. That's what I would say. The second thing I think I always talk about often is to be ethical. You get anybody can come into HR and learn all the expertise in HR, learning and development, recruitment, performance management, total rewards. Anybody can learn it. But what will make anybody stand out as an HR professional is doing it right. What will make them different is doing HR right, being ethical. You get doing the right things at all times. I think that's one of the second thing I want to mention. I would also say think strategically. And when it comes to think strategically, I'm saying understand the why of everything you do, ask why, and also be able to communicate why to people when you're engaging them. So if you're asking why, if someone is telling you to do something, you need to understand how it aligns with the business. It is not just an activity. It's not just a good to do thereabouts. It's because it is adding some value to the people, to the business, or something. Yeah. So ask why. Think strategically. Don't just do it because it's an activity. Understand the idea behind why it is being done. The next thing I'll say is be digitally savvy. Definitely. From a mindset perspective, from a skill perspective. I think a lot of people focus on the skill side of, when they say digital savvy. A lot of people focus on learning data analytics, data visualization, and many other things, data presentation. But if there's even a mindset that drives it, so you can know data analytics and not apply it to your work because you do not have a digital mindset. So even having a digital mindset is important. So it also helps you know how to automate processes, that could be repetitive, and slow down your processes as you may have it. So be digitally savvy, mindset and skills. That's what I would say there. Also be flexible in regards to opportunities, in HR. A lot of people want to be generalist, someone to be specialist, and someone to be consultant. And the funniest thing is I've been all three of these. I've been a specialist, I've been a generalist, and I'm a consultant right now. So I'll just be flexible and learn as much as possible, while being flexible. There. Another thing I would mention is get out of the office. I think that's my way of saying it. Get out of the office such that you are building networks. You are not just leaving your network to the office. Get to network people outside the organization, professional organizations that you can find top talents at. So network for yourself, for your organization, and one of the things having a very good network at, as an HR professional does for you is it also positions you as one that can add value because you have access and resource. You have access to resources, in form of people outside the organization. There, and I would say lead from where you are. You don't need to become you don't have to be the vice president of human resources, the HR director, to be an example. Lead from where you are. An HR assistant, lead from where you are. Let people be able to see that you are leading by example in everything you do, and keep learning. I think those are my thoughts around for young HR professionals.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, Samuel, my last question for you: if you have any last sound bites that you would like to leave our audience?
When it comes to careers, I think there are two things that have been with me all along, and it is being intentional and being consistent. Being intentional and being consistent. And the reason is because for me, being intentional speaks to, there are so many things that people are doing online these days. And this is me being very, very pragmatic. You go on LinkedIn, everybody's writing a certification, everyone is writing a course, everyone is taking something on one MOOC as you may have it out there. But when you are intentional, you're not just following the crowd. You are doing it because it takes you closer to your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan. You know where you are going, and you have charted a roadmap that will take you from where you are to where you are going. So I believe it's very important for us to be intentional, and not just being intentional. You can be intentional this year and wait for the next 3 years again to be intentional. You have to be consistently intentional. There was a study that was done that said, if you read for 15 minutes every day for a whole year, you'd be 100% better than you are, a year ago when you started. But if you put an accumulation of all those 15 minutes and read straight for like days, weeks, as you may have it, by the time you are done, you only be about 17% better than you were. So it is not just about doing it in lump sum, it is also the consistency that makes us, better as we may have it. So I think those are like my two thoughts around for the audience generally. Be intentional and be consistent. Thank you very much.
That's wonderful advice, Samuel. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure, talking with
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me too.
Yes, yes. I wish you all the success in life, and I will keep in touch with you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you.